On the show, in Wheelspin, we have a first look at the new Mahindra Scorpio. Lamborghini finally launches their latest car, the Huracan. In Wheelspin, we also look at the Ciaz, Maruti's new mid-size car. On the road, we drive the Hyundai Sonata to the hills of Himachal Pradesh. I've always maintained that India is a land of 4x4. Driving here is like going through an obstacle course. You have gigantic speed breakers, lunar-sized craters, and if you get good monsoons, then whatever little is left of the roads is washed away. So you have to wade through tire-deep water. But don't despair, because we are a nation of brave hearts. We never think of giving up driving. But what exactly do you need to handle this kind of situations or obstacles? What I have with me, especially in its new guise, will do the job perfectly well. The new Scorpio. Well, the Scorpio has been around for a long time, 12 years to be precise, and it was about time that Mahindra did something to change it. But what they have done actually goes beyond a mere facelift. It's a whole new platform they have made for this car, and given it a nice designer look as well, along with this new pair of headlamps. If you happen to walk around the front of this Scorpio, you will immediately notice the changes and perhaps agree with me that these changes are for the better. The Scorpio, in over a decade of its existence with hardly any major changes, had become a bit stale in terms of appearance. This new one has changes to almost all the front body parts, which includes a new bumper, air dam, a pair of new design fog lights, front grille and projector headlights as well. The bonnet too is a new piece of sheet metal with a front air intake scoop. All this indeed makes this new Scorpio look very new and a bit more stylish as well. But the changes to the front ends where the A-pillar starts, and what you get along the side are the same doors along with the same roof line. So the height and the side profile are unmistakably the same as the existing one. And as you make your way to the rear, you once again notice that it has transformed itself into a new car. The new tail light, the tailgate with new look, black plastic, and even the bumpers have changed. But the biggest change is what lies under the skin, the chassis. This new Scorpio now sits on what Mahindra calls the new modular chassis, and this is the chassis on which many future models will use as well. And this is an adjustable frame which can be used for different body types. This is wider, stronger but marginally lighter with much higher torsional rigidity, and this is what the Scorpio needs to give it a better ride. Today, in terms of customer expectations, it's the quality of the interiors as well as the number of features that really decides whether the car makes the cut or not. And in the case of this new Scorpio, I think it really stands a very good chance. Everything here has changed completely. If you look at the seats, they're redesigned, and I particularly like the fabric and the color tone of the seats. Blue and grey looks very nice. The fascia, the dashboard design has changed. There's a bit of chrome garnishing here, which looks really cool. It's a very nice looking car now in terms of the interiors, and even the instrumentation looks quite funky with a nice chrome surround and blue backlight on it with red needles. Gives a touch of a sportiness inside here. And then there are additions of features as well, very useful ones really, like a 6-inch display here, plus a fully automated climate control, which will really come in handy on long drives. I think in this new Scorpio, the interiors have certainly had a change for the better. Not only there are a lot of additions of useful features, but the looks also have drastically improved, and I think it's certainly changed for the better. The new Scorpio can be considered to be using a new platform, as it sits on a new chassis and even the track has changed. But the dimensions still remain unchanged, and so is the interior space, which hasn't changed at all. But the Scorpio does provide enough legroom and headroom as far as the second row of seats are concerned. But then it gets a bit tight if one were to use the third row, especially in terms of legroom. but if you don't, then you get adequate space for your luggage. And with these styling changes, the interiors do look neat and attractive as well as become a bit more practical. And these changes also finally include moving the electric window switch buttons to the door panel from a hard to find position around the handbrake area. But I still wish that the door pockets had more space, especially for holding water bottles. And what is more important is that the quality of materials too at first glance looks to have improved. Not only is the chassis new here, but the suspension too has been tweaked. In fact, the front geometry is all new, and in the rear, an anti-roll bar has been added to make the ride stiffer and more pliant. And the result here is obvious. This new Scorpio doesn't suffer from the same illness. Gone is that body roll and that pitching movement. In fact, if you throw her into a corner quite hard, you realize that she holds the line very well. On top of that, the wheels have been changed to 17-inch, and this top variant gets exactly that, and that has also stabilized the ride. In terms of the engine options, you still get what you got in the old Scorpio, a 2.2-litre diesel and a 2.6-litre diesel, belting out just about 75 bhp, while the 2.2-litre CRD is of course much more powerful, belts out 120 brake horsepower, and is the one which is much more fuel efficient as well. But where things have changed slightly is in terms of the gearbox, or rather the gearing ratios. It still remains the same old box, but the ratios, especially for the second and the third gears, have been changed, and they have been made taller, which means less of a gear changing in crowded city conditions. But where the company has worked is in terms of the noise and the vibration levels, and this has become somewhat quieter and a lot more refined to drive. The new Scorpio 2 will be available with a 4x4, and that's really a good thing because it is an SUV, so you should have an option of a 4x4. And all this certainly do their bit to make this Scorpio a whole lot better car. I think all these improvements in terms of the mechanicals are a good addition, and the Scorpio in fact did need it. With a wider track now, the turning circle too has come down from 5.6 meters to 5.4 meters, which would certainly help turning a car the size of the Scorpio. And this new Scorpio sports safety features like collapsible steering wheel, ABS and dual airbags on the top trim. But the company says that they have plans to introduce airbags on the base trim as well, and that would indeed be a very welcome addition. Honestly, I'm quite impressed with the Scorpio here. In the past, it is this Scorpio which has brought a lot of people into the SUV fold in India, and I see no reason why this new Scorpio will not continue to do so, because all these changes has really added value to the car. The cosmetic upgrade has made it a better looking car, while its addition to the feature list has certainly made it much more usable and user friendly. The biggest shortcoming of the Scorpio had always been its ride and handling, and these issues have been somewhat addressed in this car with a new chassis and a new suspension geometry. So I think this will give the Scorpio a new lease of life. The new Scorpio will be available in 5 variants, with prices starting at Rs 7.98 lakh and going all the way to Rs 11.46 lakhs for the top variant. Coming up next, Lamborghini finally launches their latest car, the Huracan. In Wheelspin, we also look at the Ciaz, Maruti's new mid-size car. On the road, we drive the Hyundai Sonata to the hills of Himachal Pradesh.